the topic.
Challenge accepted. We're going live right now. We're going to solve the problem.
Yay.
We're going to do it right. Brian just said, I can't solve all of this country's political topics on this show. And I said, challenge accepted. That's what we are.
Actually, I didn't say it that right. I didn't say it that way.
I said to.
This show is not going to solve political issues or disagreements.
I said challenge. Well, I don't know exactly how you worded it because tape wasn't rolling, but I tried to sum it up in a line, and I'm saying I think it can.
I was showing a little inaccuracies to your quote.
We wouldn't want to take you out of context, Brian. We wouldn't want to do that to you.
Sure. No.
So let's invent a new context.
Everybody is entitled to an opinion equally.
Yes.
And that's fine. But, a lot of people don't want to talk about politics or religion.
We were just talking about how some people don't want to talk. And I guess
when I was in college, I moved in this dorm. Some of the guys that I knew one guy I knew from high school. And we kind of were given the riot act. We're not going to talk about politics. We're not going to talk about religion. And it's, good. Then we can talk about marijuana.
Oh, there we go. There it is, right?
Unfortunately, I didn't actually say that.
Oh, you should
have.
But
there was the list of... I didn't think of it then. After that, I kind of go, damn, what a missed opportunity. After the school I went to was not a pot show.
Oh.
I mean, I'm sorry, the university was not a beer college. Obviously, people drank beer there. Uh-huh. You'd get a keg and whatever. But it was also known as the pot school.
You went to the pot school.
Yeah.
And you participated in the pot.
Actually, not while I was in college.
Oh, that's right. You were boring.
No, and people respected that.
Okay, yeah, they respected that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being boring. No, hey, I didn't smoke pot in college either. So, but I'm not so sure I went to a pot school as much as I went to a drinking and pills school, from what I observed.
Sure.
But
change.
And I only participated in the drinking my senior year when it was.
In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if my school was an LSD school before it became a pot school, but I wasn't there then.
And LSD school. Oh, that's the fun stuff.
I guess I haven't had it.
I beat either. There
was a guy in the dorm that was an LSD freak.
Well, as I understand it, and mind you, my knowledge of LSD comes through extensive internet research of watching YouTube videos. So,
right, and you become an expert.
And so let's be perfectly clear. My expertise is non-existent. But as I understand it, it's not the type of thing you do casually or you do in itself for fun. You got to have a plan for that. And sometimes people go into that without realizing that, and they just drop a bunch of LSD and things get funny, and then that's where things can go wrong because you're reacting to other things around you. So you kind of want to make sure you're surrounding yourself with a positive experience. Or go enjoy nature or listen to music or be with and I think you're supposed to have someone that kind of monitors the situation to keep things cool.
So actually, the one experience that I had, not of me, but I was watching a fella in the dorm.
Mm-hmm.
His girlfriend, they had been going out for years, had just dumped him. And this guy that was the LSD expert said, "Here, have some of this. That'll make you feel much better." So he got really high.
Okay. All right. That's not
called
bad.
Called up his ex-girlfriend.
Oh, no, you're doing it wrong. That's not how you're supposed to.
It's like, here's how you induce a bad trip. Okay.
You see, you need to have the distraction in addition to the trip so that you don't spend the trip tripping over your ex-girlfriend and then ended up, picking up a phone and, being not messed up enough to forget the digits. That's the thing. You got to get fucked up enough to not be able to dial a phone. That's just the right level. But on that note,
actually, that's a good question.
That is.
I wonder how he did remember the number.
Well, back then we all knew these numbers, but that's okay because we are here with the show you know.
Insert title here.
The show that changes nature frequently. We put a placeholder in, and we have a number, but it's not active. So don't call it, because I keep on meaning to break out. And you see, I used to have a sound card that had 8 inputs and 8 outputs, and at least 6 of them were working at all times, which gave me 3 stereo pairs. So in reality, it was 3 inputs, 3 outputs, which means I could use, one for our co-host conversing, one for our streaming, and one for our phone. And then M Audio stabbed me in the back and broke the drivers. And so ever since then, I've only been able to obtain affordable 4-in, 4-out, which meets most of my needs. So I need to hook up like a cheapo USB iMic card and patch that into the board somewhere to add back our phone channel. Which is too bad that we don't have that right now, because if we did, we could call up Nick right now and start talking, about what Janet Green is up to these days. Because that would be thrilling radio.
But we got screwed by M Audio.
By M Audio years ago when they said we will stop updating our drivers, and that's why I did not buy a new M Audio product, because they fucked me. And they didn't even use lube. And speaking of lube, I bought a new Victrola. Although it's not really new, it's actually pretty old.
Yeah, right. So as I posted there, no sponsor.
Oh.
So I went into the show so I could enter chats, and there was no sponsor.
Oh dear, that's okay. We have no viewers, so
maybe that's why.
But we'll have to figure out what to put on the banner then, because we got to be brought to you by something. Brought to you by.
Why should pop up no sponsor at this by nobody?
I got it. I got this. I got this all solved. This is real easy. And we do that, and we do that. There we go. That's
insert sponsor here, of course.
There you go. Of course.
I should have posted that to the chat.
There we go. And by the way, as far as I'm concerned, Jesse is still dead. So there you go. But if you do want to interact with the show, you could tweet us at the Twitters, and and I put both of them up there. So if you like one of us and hate the other, you can tweet a good old fuck you to the one that you dislike, and tweet a howdy to the one you like. Or you could tweet the same thing to both. Or you could just tweet us like
both together.
So if you got any cat pics, we do like the cat pics.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? It was National Dog Day a few days ago, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take a dog pic.
Oh, yeah, that'll work. So yeah, I went to the flea market this past weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm walking around and the flea market's the type that's outside and inside. So you got like a lot of, there's a difference between the outside tables and the inside booths. A lot of the inside booths are the same week to week, and they're like running a store that's open one day a week, which I think a lot of those people have other stores that they run the other 6 days of the week. And this is just kind of a little extra income on the side. Like there's some booths there with records that it's the same stock of records there week to week, although it rotates in and out. But I believe these people probably own bigger stores somewhere else, and maybe they're or maybe they're people getting started out trying to build up to a record store. I'm not sure. Or maybe this is their retirement. What's left over of their record store, they've moved into a booth in a flea market
Or
that's
they
open
go to
once
the
a
record
week.
store, pick up the dollar items to take to the thrift store, to the
To the flea market. But
flea market.
anyways, but outside, and there's some people that you see. There's some stuff that you see outside that's the same week to week. But then outside you got a lot of random stuff that comes and goes. And so there's this one table set up that's got a bunch of stuff, and I see a Victrola, like a little tabletop Victrola without a lid, just sitting there, and that's the type of thing that you don't see out in the wild in a flea market from all that often anymore.
Yeah.
It was in very rough shape, very rusted. Any metal part that was exposed was rusted, although the wood was very dirty and kind of darkened, but not scratched or dinged up, so that will probably clean up nice. And rusty metal parts, you can kind of try to polish that or try to remove that and clean it. Although it was missing its reproduce.
Did the turntable turn?
Yeah, but it turns a little too much. Because I got it home and it had the crank in it still, and so I crank it up a few cranks and the turntable spins up, and I'm like, oh good, it still spins, and then it gets faster, and then it gets faster, and then it gets faster. I mean, it was just it was spinning at like 500 RPM. This thing could be a CD-ROM drive if we install a laser onto it. But so
right.
It's like I don't think that's right. I mean,
maybe that's how you get one of the Beatles to say Paul is dead.
It was spinning so fast that the momentum kept it going, even though there was no tension on the spring anymore. And then the crank started turning itself backwards, and so I had to stop. It's like I don't think that's supposed to.
That's not normal.
That's not. Yeah, we got a problem here. So
there must be something wrong with the speed,
the governor
or whatever.
Yeah, the governor. Yeah, I mean the way the governor works is it's a part that's in there that's got 3 weights that are on springs. That the tension of how far the springs will let the weights out is set by the little speed adjustment that's on there. So it could very well be that the weights fell off the springs or the springs fell off the governor, and so there's just no counterweight on there, and it's just letting it fly. I got to take the thing apart, but of course there's also no reproducer on it. The reproducer is the circular part that holds the needle and that attaches to the end of the tone arm. So that part is missing. Yeah. It'll take the same type of reproducer that's on my other Victrola, so I could at least throw that on there to test it. And it's here's what happened, because I walk up to look at it, and it's I don't need another Victrola. I don't particularly want something that's as basic and tabletop without a lid as like this. I generally like, if I were to buy something of that era, I'd want to go a model before it and get something that's got the big horn on the top. But this model is the type that's got the horn built into the wooden base that you open the doors up the front, which is far more common. It's funny when you say Victrola, everyone pictures a horn on top, but that was phased out rather early, and it is far, far, far more common to find a Victrola with the horn built into the wooden base that just comes out the front when you open up doors, and there's a few slits there. That is far more. That is what most people probably
How does the
had in their
sound
house.
get from the, what did you call it, a receiver?
Well, the reproducer.
The reproducer, I mean? How does the sound...
Well, the reproducer's got a diaphragm that connects to the thing that holds the needle. So the needle vibrates a diaphragm, which goes into the tone arm, is hollowed out, and goes into a hole in the base. And then going down from there out under it, it's kind of a built-in horn in the wooden base underneath. The turntable.
So it goes down rather than going up to the external horn.
It goes down to a horn that's built into the wooden base out of wood instead of going up to a metal horn that's sitting on top of everything.
Yeah. Okay.
And that makes far more sense, that design. You could see why once they went to that, they did away with the horns. But the horns has been the iconic thing there. Everyone thinks
Oh,
of.
absolutely. That's when you, yeah, exactly.
Probably because of
So
Nipper.
what do you think? Did you put an age to this thing?
Yes, I absolutely did put an age to this thing because it has a serial number on it. And now mind you, I walk up to the table and I look at it. And the people that had this on the table, they brought it to the flea market for one reason and one reason only: to make it disappear. It had nothing to do with making money. It had to do with, I want this thing gone. So they said you could have it for $30. And I figured $30 for a Victrola that's only missing one part that is not too dinged up other than the age of rust. That's not a bad deal. And then I got home and I Googled it and I found out it's like the most common model of Victrola that ever existed, and is not at all collectible at all in any way.
So that means you could get other ones just for spare parts to get a good one out of it, right?
Yeah, it's funny you mention that, because it's usually cheaper to buy a Victrola than it is to buy a Victrola part, because that's where the demand is for parts, not for Victrolas. So I might have to keep an eye out for another one in the wild. But some people probably part things out for a reasonable price. It'll probably cost me at least another $30 for a reproducer, but I don't have to, because I have a reproducer on my other Victrola that will move over to it, and I don't plan on using them both at the same time. So I'm not really planning on dealing with.
Well, what's the condition of the other one that you have? As far as all the other parts, is that fully functional?
Oh, well, that's the Victrola I bought in California. That's, a big cabinet that goes down to the floor. That's in great shape. That still works great. Yeah, that's But this is a really here. Let me show you what we're dealing with here. So this here is,
so it's a tabletop model.
Right. And as you can see, it's a very small tabletop model, and it doesn't have a lid. It's basically, this was like the first affordable turntable that a lot of people bought, because it was introduced during the summer of 1911, featured a very basic single spring motor, nickel plated hardware, and Victor's number 15 sound box, which is similar to the popular exhibition version, but with a shrouded housing which protected the fragile mica diaphragm. Basically, let's see. Over here.
Dune!
Hello, Dune.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just had to.
I'm trying to look at because somewhere I was reading it was talking about how this was like the first affordable Victrola that many families would buy. Let's see. A small but well-made solid oak cabinet was used, made by outside suppliers. Assembling of mechanical components was completed at the Victor plant in Camden, New Jersey. The first ones had a metal grill on them. Mine is like this one with the 5 slats when you open up the door. Although I don't have that style crank. I have the later style crank that's got the rounded corners. But some of them didn't have the slats, and some of them had 3 slats. But mine's a 5-slot model. And I believe I determined from the serial number of mine that mine was made in 1916.
Basically new.
There you go. Trying to find where it was. Let's see. It was remodeled. These have the A, B, C, D, or E suffix. Mine's an E. Approximately 315,000 copies of this variation were produced. Due to the large volume that were originally produced, later versions are typically ignored by collectors today unless in exceptional original condition. They're simply too basic a design, and far too many were produced to be considered collectible in the current market. And I mean, that's the thing, is that interest in collecting Victrolas is decreasing. So I may have made a mistake paying $30 for it. But you know what? $30.
It's $30.
It's $30.
So the standard speed for those is what, 78?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Here's during its 13-year production run, it became Victor's number 3 top-selling model of all time. This little phonograph made a Victrola affordable to buyers who only a few few years earlier could never dream of owning a talking machine. In addition, it made for a popular Christmas gift for children whose parents had the financial means to purchase this type of product. Originally selling for just $15 new, which equates to $400 in today's money. So either I paid twice the price or a whole lot less, depending on how you're counting.
Right.
You know, it was very simple and basic machine, but could produce an impressive sound quality for the era. So there you go. This is kind of like the entry level Victrola back in the 1910s, 19-teens. So yeah, not bad.
Well, it would be a shame to steal parts from a perfectly working model to put on that machine. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, what?
It would be a shame to take parts from a perfectly working machine.
Yeah.
To get that one going. So I would say look at either parts or other machines like it that might have compatible parts.
Well, I'm gonna start by opening it up and seeing if I can.
Because governor is going to be another issue, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I don't. For all I know, it could be that the weights fell off. It might just need a new screw, or something like that. I don't know.
Could they even be loose in the cabinet?
It could be. Although it's not rattling, but I'd not been shaking it neither. I think someone's gone into that machine because the part that swings down that the reproducer would attach to, it's on backwards. And I didn't notice that at first until I took the reproducer and I found out when I put the reproducer on the end, it was pointing the needle up instead of down, which makes it challenging to get the needle on the record. And I compared it to pictures. I'm like, this part's on backwards. So someone has someone's tinkered with it. For all I know, someone went into this thing and took parts from it to fix up another Victrola, and somehow it ended up, because what they told me was, someone gave it to me. Like I said, the people that were running this table at the flea market, they brought that Victrola to the flea market with them for one reason only, to make it disappear. If any cash was involved with that, that would be a bonus. I have a feeling if I came back, if I passed on it and went inside and did some shopping and came out as people were packing up, I probably could have got it for free from a trash barrel. I don't know.
Oh, could have even gave a lesser price. Okay, $10.
I didn't even 30 was kind of, to me, ridiculously low for a somewhat potentially functional Victrola.
Sure.
I didn't even think to try to undercut them. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll give you $30 for that. That's fine. Maybe that's a weakness in me to take a first number if I feel it's ridiculously reasonable.
Well, about a month ago, I bought a vintage camera lens.
Oh, okay.
And it was for $35, and I said, that seems reasonable.
That does, yeah.
But when I got home and I looked it up, that's a reasonable price, except that this lens had fungus in it. But it was an easy job to clean it up.
Oh, okay. All right.
I
was gonna say, let me. I would have predicted that you would have paid the $35 for the lens, used it, and you'd have a bunch of scuff marks on your pictures, because that's because I could never let you forget that.
That's a different problem. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Beautiful pictures of a space shuttle with a bunch of scuff marks all around.
Well, not really scuff marks. They were flecks on the sensor.
Dude, there was scuffs going around the edge of the picture.
That's basically garbage that's on the sensor.
Okay.
So just need to clean the sensor and it would have been fine.
Right.
So in fact, newer cameras have this feature where you turn it on and it has this little thing that wipes the sensor clean. It just does it to get rid of that issue.
Now, Five Hit Dune was asking about a pregnant record player. I don't know what I said that sounded like pregnant record player, but no, not pregnant. Do they sell a motor retro kit for it? No.
So like you put electric motors so that you don't have to crank it. Is that what you're saying, Dune?
You know what? There were Victrola. Now, certainly not in the 1910s, but there were Victrolas that were released side by side with wind-up Victrolas that also were plug-in electric. They did add that in at some point in the era of Victrolas. That you could buy, you could pay extra and buy an electric model.
So let me ask you this question: this box that normally sits on top of a table or something,
yeah.
does it have like a lid that you can put on it so the whole thing becomes portable?
No, it doesn't. I mean, and the ones that do have lids, I don't think that makes them any more or less portable because they don't have handles. This
You would, yeah. If they're going to make it portable, they need to add handles. Absolutely.
Right. I mean, I don't know at what point they were introduced, but a common player later on were the suitcase types that would open up and you close them, carry them around like a suitcase.
Yeah, I mean, even through the '60s, you had portable record players that would close and carry like a briefcase.
I don't know. I don't know at what point that started becoming a normal thing. I mean, the thing is, though, is that this, even though it doesn't have a handle you can carry around, it would not be hard to take this outside. In fact, that was one of my thoughts with this, is that it's a nice little compact unit that would be, if I fix it up, would be easy to take somewhere. And being that it is a crank Victrola, no electricity required, all I need is a bag of needles and a box of records. And you could play some old jazz tunes out in out in the lake somewhere or something like that. So yeah, I did have that thought of this possibly could be a good unit to take on the go.
In fact, do you have any records from, say, the 1910 era?
Oh yeah, I got
that'd
lots.
Be contemporaneous.
1910 records tend to be on the boring side, but yeah, I got plenty of.
It's all whatever you're into, right?
I mean, I have got 78s from across the decades.
Tiptoe Through the Tulips, right? When it was new.
Tiptoe Through the Tulips. No, I don't have that one. But,
or is that one older?
I mean, mind you, I have covered on this show the various older Christmas recordings I have that go back to like 1908 up to the 1950s on 78s. It is I got the 10s, the 20s, the 30s. There's definitely a dip as you get into war era, that there's a lot less of this stuff being bought, so there's a lot less of this stuff being produced, so there's a lot less of that stuff around. You definitely kind of have this acoustical era, this dip, and then this, into the 40s and the 50s.
So World War I dip and a World War II dip, I take it?
I definitely, like...
After all, they wanted to put out propaganda.
I was surprised at, just raw materials, to build these things and make these things and manpower.
The equipment
and labor
themselves rather than just the records. You're saying.
Well, and records. I mean, shellac's a resource. The manpower to run the factories and everything. Not to mention the economy and the buying public and the people to buy these products. Yeah, I mean, you definitely, that is a thing that. When you go through history, you find that, and you start dating, music, you see that there's an era where what you find in the wild gravitates towards certain periods of time more than other periods of time. And you definitely see that kind of correlates to war efforts.
By the way, so we've been getting kind of hardcore into watching the Downton Abbey series.
Mm-hmm.
Nick was really big into that, right?
Right.
The interesting thing is it's, it starts off, the Titanic just sank, and there were two relatives that were on board that died. And then, life goes on. They're looking for a replacement heir, because one of these guys was an heir. And then, because in the UK, they have special rules on who inherits what. And then they go into World War one. That's an interesting. That starts in season 2, and then toward the end of season 2, they get into the 1918 pandemic, which is so it's interesting to see that, and then you'll see what technology shows up, during this timeline. You know, they go from buggies to cars, and then you don't have just the chauffeur that owns a car, but some of the people are starting to own cars, particularly the people that have money. And then there's an episode where they include a record player, the Victrola with the horn, as it were. Although it probably is a different model.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. I figured it out. Because I was trying to speak more to the electric models because
Yeah,
you see these model numbers like the VVs, I guess Victor, Victrola, and then there's lots of numbers or letters after those. Like the one that I was looking at was the VVIV. And VX, I think, was a more expensive line, maybe, that also correlated to the and I don't know what the X means. But these VE models, that's for Victor Electric.
Oh.
So,
I'm sorry.
like,
Did you see Dune's hint?
Dune's hint.
You
Oh, you said a reproducer.
Reproducer. That's why you said pregnant.
That's.
Oh, that is so subtle.
I thought
I
it was
love it.
I thought it was obvious when we were talking about records what we were talking about the reproduction of, but some people will always go to sex in their head, and I'm not saying Dune's that type of guy, but I am saying he does send me a lot of video clips that suggest that could be the case, but
Right.
that's.
Everything is innuendo here, right?
But here you go. Like, for example, this page is about the VV120 and the VE120. So, the VV 120 was the crank up model, but you could buy an electric model of this same Victrola. Now I don't see the electric ones. I only ever see the crank up ones. I don't know if that's because the electric one. My guess would be electric ones broke down more commonly than the crank up ones, and I don't know. My thought would be probably I don't know what the sales figures are for electric versus crank. This is good stuff I never even thought to research, and I don't know if someone did the research.
But as far as you know, there was no conversion kit.
No,
So you
because
pop out the mechanical mechanism and put it in a motor.
well, I mean, a Victrola has a lot of mechanical parts in it, and an electronic model would have an electric motor in there. So you'd pretty much have to replace the whole damn thing. The only thing that you could really hold on to is the cabinet. It's just it's a different thing. I don't think that would be a common conversion. Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, mind you, working on antique radios is a whole different kind of hobby than working on old Victrolas, because Victrolas, it's gears and springs. I mean, to completely restore a Victrola, you're basically taking apart a bunch of metal parts, cleaning them up, putting them back together and lubricating them, maybe replacing a few broken parts, and maybe refinishing a cabinet. There's no soldering. There's no capacitors. No, stop telling me about the broken capacitors. There are no capacitors.
Really? Hey, that's a plus.
That is, isn't
now,
it?
Do you have basically original diagrams of the mechanical parts?
I don't have diagrams, but there are YouTube videos of people that take these apart. Here's the best thing I could find, because I actually did do a little investigating on the VVIP Victrola restoration, and I found one video. And the video is completely about rebuilding the governor, which is the part that I think is having a problem on mine because mine is spitting way too fast. So I'm guessing that I am going to need to there we go, make use of this video. So this guy kind of shows you how to open the thing up. You take the arm off there, you take those screws off there, and you get that thing open, and so there you got your spring, and the governor's there with the weights on there, and So you kind of unscrew that, loosen that from the top, and then finish taking the screws out with a hand on it so that it doesn't just drop into there.
Place the motor on a soft cloth.
So, I mean, this is basically the parts here. So I don't know much about the spring on this one because oftentimes you want to relubricate springs on these. And taking it apart and putting back together springs is, tricky work that you want to wear protective gear for. Because if you do it wrong, a long, thin piece of metal will fly right at your face. Not my idea of a good time. I've not attempted something like that.
Definitely wear safety glasses, right?
But this job doesn't involve any pieces of metal flying at me because there's the governor. You see the 3 counterweights there that, based on the setting of the speed adjustment, correlates to how far they'll swing out. So I think there's something wrong with that part on mine. So I do have this to refer to take it apart and get the governor.
Yeah, no, that's good.
If I want to take the spring out, I'm on my own. I had to do some more research, but I should probably do more than just this.
Hopefully, you don't. Right?
Well, it is a good when you're dealing with something that's over 100 years old. The grease that's in that spring is probably just a little past prime. So it's probably a good idea to, while I'm taking it apart, relubricate everything. I just don't know how.
Well, you just kind of put it this way. Hopefully you can relubricate the spring without taking the spring out.
Oh, no. I can show you.
Although it looks funny, using a section of tape measure is a recommended repair if you cannot locate spring material.
There's a series of videos on how to do that on a different model. Here we go. Victor 2-spring motor rebuild. Now, this is a 1920s Victrola. This is a double spring. I'm pretty sure my spring is a single spring, so it's not the same type of thing as here. But this guy shows how to take all the things apart and take that out there and take that out from there, and you turn that over here. And it's a 4-part video. So once he gets all the parts out... let's see, that's some more things he's taking apart.
Full of about 2 inches of kerosene.
Actually, I wonder if the mechanism is not dissimilar to the mechanism in a little music box.
Well, here
just on a longer.
Well, here you
scale.
go. Here he is taking one of the springs out of the spring cylinder there, and he does this by hand. And you see he's kind of doing this carefully, just holding with both hands and slowly unwrapping one thing at a time while continuing to hold firm. And it's sometimes suggested that if you're a first-timer, you might want to do this in a pillowcase.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. But he's done this many times. He don't need no pillowcase. So yeah, generally you want to take all these things apart, and he basically once he gets everything apart, he cleans these all up in a bunch of kerosene.
Oh yeah.
Is that common practice for cleaning metal to use kerosene?
Oh,
or
sure.
Is there something a little less flammable I could use? Maybe. I was thinking, Dawn dish detergent is great at cutting grease.
Yeah, you're adding water to it.
Well, I mean, water is how you clean things usually.
Yeah, but you want to get the grease off, which is why you're using kerosene. You're using kerosene or gasoline. Kerosene's probably better.
Here's the ball bearing.
Now, where do I get kerosene?
Parts cup.
A hardware store.
Okay. So, now you do want to make sure that you don't use that toothbrush to brush your teeth afterwards. That would probably be a bad idea to brush your teeth with the kerosene toothbrush.
Spring barrel.
But yeah, so you take all your metal.
I think you could probably smell it.
I would, yeah, probably if your sense of smell is still working. So basically, you wash all your parts in kerosene, and then you put them back together in the reverse order that you took it apart. So here he is showing how to, by hand, get the spring back in there. And he's got the one in there, and then you get new grease, and pack new grease in there.
Do they talk about what grease that is?
Yes, he does talk about what grease that is and what other greases you might use. And he also puts like a teaspoon of oil on top of that as well. And then he does the same for the second spring. So
would that be just regular motor oil?
He listed a few things. One of the things he did mention is, you could use motor oil, you could use something. I don't have
Or
the
like
sound.
sewing machine oil. That's usually a lighter.
I don't. I have to go back and check the notes, and also I want to
Yeah.
do some more research because I don't want to just do everything that one guy says. Usually, if you
That's good.
if you watch five guys fix a Victrola, you'll have five completely different methods, and then you can
Sure.
kind of pick and choose what makes sense to you from all of those, and then you come up with way number 6. So that's
right, or maybe a hybrid.
there you go. But
Platform 9 3/4, right?
there you go. So, now this, like I said, this series of video is the most useful series of videos I found for restoring Victrola. But like I said, this is not the same model that I have.
Here's the trick. So he's putting it back in there now, right?
Right.
Yeah. See, that's the thing that would scare the crap out of me.
Yeah, and I love how once he got to a certain point, it just popped right in, and there you go.
Yeah.
Now, I've told the story. Do you remember my spring story?
No. Did that come after the summer, after the winter?
No, not that.
That
No.
was a dumb line.
Now, if I was doing running in, all I sent was a pretty girl warming up this morning. Yeah, no, that was a good warm up. I'm not the one with the brother hooker going on by the. Dune, I'll trade. Yeah, I'll take the pole dancing warm up. You could have the brother hooker. No, it's all good fun. All right. So, anyways, what was I starting to say? I had an encounter with a spring once, and I don't think it was even the springtime. My dad had an extension cord for headphones, and notice the key phrase there, had. It was a really cool thing because it had like a base with these two plastic parts that came up with little nubs that came out the edge, so you could rest your big ass bulbous headphones on top of there. But it also had a cord that came out the back. I mean, now mind you, my dad had Lloyd's headphones propped on there, and if I recall correctly, the sound was pretty craptastic, but they were probably good in their time. Or average. I think Lloyd's was considered pretty average stuff of the time. Maybe budget even. I don't know. I think the extension cord thing that they rested on was a separate purchase. And, the cord came out the back that had a 1/4-inch, plug that you could plug into your headphone jack. And then there was a dongle that would come out the front. And it pulled out the same way like a vacuum cleaner cord would pull out. If you remember the models of vacuum cleaners that you pulled out the cord, and then when you were done, you gave it a little tug and it snapped back in.
Yeah.
Although this had a little button that you push on the front that would release, and then it would pull it back in.
Sure, there's different styles. Yeah.
And so the thing was being problematic. It was actually a clever design because, the way you pulled the cord out, the cord actually was within this round thing that then was soldered to metal contacts that had these metal plates that were round on top of the rotating part that also brushed up against other metal parts that were stationary on top. So that's how you could pull this cord out and still have a contact. The thing is, though, is that it was spring loaded and spring activated so that it would coil back up automatically. And so I was trying to figure out what was wrong with this cord because one of the contacts was poor. And Dune pointing out that they charged for the extra L. Lloyd's did. Yeah, it was a Lloyd's, I think is what it. But anyways, so I decided to, tinker with it a bit. So I open the thing up and I take it out and I'm trying to figure out where's the end of this cord so I can figure out what's wrong with the connection. And there were these 3 screws in this part. And, and like any naive kid taking something apart, you just keep taking screws out until the whole thing comes apart. And so I took out screw number 1, and I took out screw number 2, and I took out screw number 3. And all of a sudden, the thing starts spinning. And all of a sudden, it bursts open. And this thin piece of winded metal goes boing! And cleared all the way over to the other side of the basement. And notice it went flinging away from me. over to the other side of the basement. It was after my first reaction was, what the fuck? What the fuck just happened? What was that? And then I go and I get it, and I'm like, holy shit, that thing could have fucked me up. The amount of force that it came flying out of there at.
Could have hit you in the face or whatever.
Oh, yeah. It could have made the other side of my face.
So the pillowcase idea would have been good for that example.
Yeah. No, that thing could have made me, what's the word I'm looking for? Symmetrical is what that thing could have done to me. Oh, come on. That's funny. Could have made me symmetrical, as it could have messed up the other side of my face to match.
I see where you're going.
Yeah.
Or maybe it could have fixed you up.
Yeah, it could have made me symmetrical. That's fixed in a sense, right?
God.
So I spent the next 3 hours trying to get the spring back into it. Mind you, I did not stop to put on eye protection or gloves or anything like that.
Yeah, you're already in it, right?
And I really should have, because that spring flew out of my hands at least 20 more times that day. But I managed always at that point. I guess I had a little more control over the situation, that because I was holding it, I naturally would hold it in ways that protected the spring from flying my way. But really, I got very lucky. Five Doom pointing out that could have made me a Jaws user too. Yeah, no, that thing could have took my eyes out. I mean, that thing just flew out with force. I mean, I don't think even that day I realized how lucky I was. I kind of was a little shook up, but it still didn't quite hit me.
Didn't shake you up enough, right?
Yeah, well, I was more concerned about fixing the thing I broke that was not mine to break. Because, mind you, my dad, I never witnessed my dad.
Or what you do is you just kind of look there, look your dad straight in the eye and you go, and now the cord does not retract at all.
Well, here's the thing. I have never once seen my dad use this thing. I'm pretty sure even when I got this thing back,
vacuum cleaner.
The headphone.
The headphone
cord.
thing. Yeah.
No, I compared it to I have never seen my dad use this thing once in our entire lives. I think this is something he had in his teen years, and that he just kept with his stereo equipment. He never plugged in the headphones. He never used this cord. I never seen him use this. But my dad is very protective of his stuff, and so he would be pissed off on principle, even though he'd never use it again. And what I did,
sure, I mean that's in his collection, right?
Right. No, I put it back together, and I don't think it ever worked quite the same, but I put it back together enough that it could sit there and look perfectly fine for the next 10 to 20 years until he threw it out when they moved. So, in reality, I could have thrown it out that day and it wouldn't have impacted him any, but he would have been pissed because that was his. That wasn't mine. That was his. And he was there was stuff in the basement I found that's like, he
was never aware that you broke it. Is that correct?
I might have told him the story at some point, but he might have scoffed a little bit, but what's he going to do now? Ground me?
Cut you out of his will.
Yeah. No, he's getting buried with the cars.
Well, you don't want the cars anyway. You got the station wagons.
Oh no, those cars are worth good money. He always said they're an investment. That was his way to justify playing with toy cars.
Right. Well, he does show them, right?
Oh yeah. No, although he's taking the new car to the Trans Am Nationals. Actually, no. I say took, because Trans Am Nationals was this past weekend, and he took the yellow Firebird, which was.
Did I tell you not this weekend, but the prior weekend, we were down at the beach house, which is near Pebble Beach, and they have this very famous car show annually.
Yeah.
Now, we've never gone to it, but I've seen it on TV and this and that and the other thing. But this last weekend, we did get caught in its traffic. So we participated and not seen any of the cool cars that were at the show.
Aw.
Although we did stop at a Subway, obviously to pick up a sandwich, and there was this restored Ford Bronco, probably from the 60s, I'm guessing, but it beautiful paint job, blue and white, I think, was the matching color, or the second color to it. And there was a number that was on the inside of the windshield in the corner. So that was the show number.
Oh, okay.
There was no sign for sale. A lot of times you go to these car shows and every car out there is for sale. This didn't have an obvious for sale sign, unless, hey, I'm leaving now. I'm gonna just take the sign down because I don't want people to be bugging me when I'm going to the local Lucky's or wherever he was going.
So I believe this is similar or the same model as what my dad took to the Trans Am Nationals last time.
Cool.
This is the last year they made them, the 2002 collector's edition, which we did not expect my dad to buy another toy car, but it just showed up in our driveway, and
so he got a 2002.
Yeah. In addition to his 70s Firebirds, he's got a collection. But he did buy this.
So is that the year that Pontiac was shut down?
No, they discontinued a Firebird before that. This was 2002.
When did they get shut down?
Shut down? What that was?
Pontiac.
What 08, 09, somewhere around there.
I don't know. That's why I was asking.
All right. Well, let's see. When did Pontiac get shut down? April 2009.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So no, they
made
had
a good guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was So anyways, this was the one that he decided to take to the Trans Am Nationals this time around. So there you go. You could have seen one of these if you were there. Probably seen a lot of them, actually.
Did you ask your dad if a 2002, right?
2002.
If a 2002 would be a popular car at the show, or do people tend to want to go to look at the older cars?
I didn't ask him that. I do recall him saying that there was some. I don't know. He talks in different circles, and I think sometimes he brings a car based on questions or interest in certain aspects of them. And I forget if it was
people in shall we say, a fan group?
I missed.
Yeah. And speaking of fan groups, we got Mars on the line.
Hello, Mars.
And Five Hit Dune writes in ew.
Okay, I can leave.
Why did he say ew?
No. Five Hit Dune says ew to the yellow car, I think.
Oh. No, if it's
is
yellow,
that a
the
positive
insurance is
ew
cheaper.
or
Yellow is cheaper insurance.
I don't think Dune's a fan of the Firebirds. I think he's I don't know. He
doesn't like Pontiac?
He mentioned something about a certain saying, and then I thought about it for a while, and I was like, oh no, that can't be what he was meaning. But I don't know. Actually, maybe Dune could chime in. I could send him the invite.
Wait. Are the Firebird? Was that a Firebird in the it wasn't Smokey and the Bandit. What was the other one? Cannonball Run. Was that a Firebird? What was that?
I know what Smokey and the Bandit was. But,
okay, that one was a Firebird. I knew that. Well, and that was a cool car. You can't say that wasn't a cool car.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, the model year is important in that.
I got no problem with that. Anyways, I don't think I have
what really gets me is that GM would take a car in the Pontiac line, and the Chevy version would be virtually identical, but maybe something different about the dash. Well, like the Ford Taurus and the Mercury Sable. Same thing. It's the same damn car.
Now here's
slight differences. There's nothing unique about them.
And here's the other type that he has, or one of the other ones he has. This is the 1973 SD 455.
That's cool.
In Brewster green.
Oh.
And
Why
that's
did you
not.
get that green.
Well, because that was the rarer color. I think they were available in white, red, or green, and green is considered more collectible because it was the rarer color.
That's because Noah bought it.
Yeah.
That's why Noah bought the green. It's like, oh, it's a rarer color. Noah bought it. That's why.
When my dad bought it home, I said, "But where's the big bird?" Because it only has this like small bird on here. It doesn't have the big bird painted on the hood. And he's like, "No,
after all, you're a
that-
big Sesame Street watcher, right?"
I that was my disappointment with the car that it didn't have a big.
What years did they use the
it a
big
T-top?
bird?
Oh, there are others from the same year that have it, and I really don't know why sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. I'm really
So is it a special model, like a deluxe version or whatever?
I don't know. I mean, it's. I guess it was just.
they're cool.
I guess you could order it with one of. Maybe there's not. You know what? I need to. Let's go to images.
Well, and then, I mean, here's another thing. So, the Trans Am is basically a Firebird with the big engine. Am I right? Basically,
What's that?
I'm not.
The Trans Am is basically a Firebird with the big engine.
I believe so. Now, here I just did a Google image search for 1973 SD455 Firebirds, and I mean, here's a red one that's got the big bird on it. Here's a white one that has a big bird. Here's a white one that's got a stripe with the small bird.
Go for the stripe.
Yeah, here's a and I've seen green ones that have the big bird.
Was that the green one?
Here's a green one with a big bird on it.
Oh, okay.
So some of them do and some of them don't. I'm not sure if that's just how you ordered it to be painted or what.
Now here's another question.
Yeah.
Back in the day, were most of these ordered, so you got the exact one that you wanted, or did you just, shall we say, pick it off the rack?
My dad would be the guy to ask these questions.
Ooh, are we gonna call him? Are we gonna add him to the show?
We'll call him now.
We'll add him to the
No,
show.
I don't have the phone set up.
Oh, that's right. That's why we couldn't
Well, I
call
can
him
open Skype and I can virtual audio cable it probably. I haven't done that in a long time, but I probably could if I tried. Gator's like, no, we're not calling my dad.
No, I was just thinking,
right.
I was just thinking this driveway looks a little familiar. No, it's not the same driveway, and those tires are completely wrong. I'm just surprised I haven't found pictures of my dad's car yet. Scrolling through all these,
Probably, yeah.
I know my dad's Trans Am has been in a magazine, although it looked more purple than green the way the sun was shining on it that day.
Did you have someone laying on top of it? Was it one of those magazines?
No, it was not that kind of magazine.
Oh, okay.
It was no.
Okay. All right. So yeah. I'm sorry I was late. I was watching a documentary from 1952 about springs.
Springs?
Springs?
Wow.
Those springs. Oh, that was a great documentary.
That one.
The one that starts with the guy cursing springs and then nothing works because there's no springs in his universe now. Now, 5-It Dune writing in, no, I like Firebirds, but not Camaro with a body kit. I guess that's his criticism of the 2002 Firebird.
You know what? I understand that. Don't sit there and make your car look like another car. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I don't know.
It's like people buying the Imprezas, and then they sit there, and there's a newer car, and they put the Impreza, but then they put that giant super duper wing that looks like you could hang it on a wall with. Don't buy that stupid thing. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to make the car go faster or hit the ground better. It's just a look. Just stop it. Stop it.
In fact,
Stop
a lot
it.
of times, to me, the aftermarket wing, I don't think they look like I've seen Porsche with an aftermarket wing. Okay, so the car is a certain color, and then they throw a black wing on it, and it looks hideous.
Well, the Porsche has the built-in wing because when you go a certain amount of speed, the wing pops up from the back, right?
Well, depending on the model.
Pop-up wing in the back. They go like
depending
80
on the
miles an hour,
model.
it goes.
Yeah.
It pops up.
But a lot of the aftermarket wings just look awful.
Don't.
But I get it. They're trying to make a statement.
I see.
right?
Okay, if you're gonna do the body kits, do what the kids do. They put the underglow. They do all the other crap because they're gonna mod their car anyway. They're gonna do it. But don't make your car look like a different car.
So Mars.
What?
Okay.
What?
What do you think of the old VW Bug that had the body kit that gave it a Rolls Royce front end?
No.
I mean, they were silly, right?
No. But I did like the original Bug. The new Bug is cute, but I like the OG Bug. They were great. They were good to work on. And in fact, it's the same way with the Mini Coopers. I love the original Mini Coopers. The newer Mini Coopers are cool.
Oh yeah.
But they're posers. They're not cool. They're owned by BMW. I'm sorry. The new Mini Coopers are not cool. You get the OG.
Sure.
You get the original one.
And like the guys from Top Gear Grand Tour, they make fun of the new Mini Cooper all the time.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the Countryman, that kind of takes away from the old idea that it's a mini, right? Because it's much bigger.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a mini maxi, if you want an oxymoron.
But Brian, you know what you really need to do? This is what you need to do. You need to trade your car and then get a Reliant Robin. That's what you really need.
Can you get them in the U.S.?
I don't know.
I don't think you can legally. I'm sure you can find a way.
You probably just wear a helmet to drive one.
Hey, any car can be a Reliant Robin. All you need is a tire iron, and you just take one of the tires off, or one of the wheels off, and there you go, Reliant Robin.
The difference between that is if you take one of the tires off, you could turn one way and not fall over. The Reliant Robin, you can't turn any way without it falling over.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I mean it's 50% better at turns than the actual Reliant Robin. So I think I'm offering an improved model.
What I thought was really funny is the Top Gear guys. I guess it was under Top Gear at the time. They had a Reliant Robin, and they added these outrigger wheels that would prevent it from falling over, but those didn't work either.
See, that was the brilliant part about Mr. Bean. You always see the one part where he backs up into the Reliant Robin or drive right next to it to knock it over or something.
Yeah, he knocked
it was just brilliant.
Every time.
Every time it was brilliant.
Well, except for the time he was playing mini golf and the Reliant Robin stopped when he was trying to hitch a ride and then drove off without tipping over. But every other time, I think the Reliant Robin ended up tipping.
Right.
But
there's a sequence where Jeremy Clarkson is driving around on a Reliant Robin, and it's staged because he's at this one place where he rolls over as the weatherman is talking, right?
Yeah.
And the weatherman runs down to help him.
Give him a hand.
Just give me a push, and it gets upright, and he goes on, and then he rolls over again.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And speaking of things not going right, I do have a topic on this week's show.
A second topic.
An official topic. The thing.
Oh, the Victrola wasn't an official topic?
The thing that I type in that I say the topic is going to be that we spend at least an hour
I didn't even
ignoring.
read the damn topic was.
Transformers?
Transformers. Yeah. No, not. No, but if you read right up there at the top of the screen, our topic is what happened to Seaman. Because I believe I mentioned this some weeks ago. I was shopping for classic video games, and I found I have a Dreamcast, and I didn't have any games for it. I was only burning games, and I found an original copy of Seaman, complete with its included microphone.
Oh, what happened to that? Do you have Seaman now?
I have Seaman, and I was playing Seaman, and every day I would check in on Seaman, and Leonard Nimoy would give me an update on what was going on with Seaman, because that was one of the things about Seaman is that they hired Leonard Nimoy to do the narration as himself. So every time you boot up the game, it gives you a little, status report and update of what has happened in the past day. And
I have a question, Gators. Why is this not a cell phone game?
I don't know. I don't know.
Honestly, this would be an excellent cell phone game. Seriously.
Yeah, it would be. That would be more convenient. So every day I turn on my, big 32-inch Sony Trinitron, turn on the Dreamcast. Leonard Nimoy brings you up to date. I make sure that the temperature is good and the water clarity is good. And I was doing really good. And I got to the point where the seaman is talking to me and asking me questions, and I'm answering him. The problem is that one of the things you have to do to keep a seaman alive is you have to feed it. And once the seaman comes to age, instead of relying on food pellets to feed it, it gives you this cage with these moth larvae. And at some point before it becomes a moth, it goes to a form that is a tasty treat for the seaman. But it gave me no education that I have to maintain this environment to keep more eggs being laid, and also at some
how
point
do you perpetuate the population?
Right. I couldn't keep them perpetuated because at some point I go there and there's no new larva that will feed the to feed the seaman, but there's a moth. And so I'm like, well, I think a moth would be as tasty as a larva if I was hungry. No. So I threw the moth in the the water enclosure, and the moth just floated on top and died. And the seaman just kept grumbling about how hungry he was while ignoring this perfectly good, tasty moth that was dead and floating on the tank of water. And also because I killed the moth, there was no chance of it laying more eggs to produce more larvae. But at some point, some other pods were still there, and I was waiting for them to form in a larva form. But before they could, I turned on the Dreamcast, and Leonard Nimoy regretfully informed me that Seaman has died. So I had to.
You killed it?
I killed my Seaman. So I had to. So I have to start over. I'm all the way at the beginning now. I put the egg in. The egg hatched, and that's. So that's. Yeah, I killed a Seaman.
Are you gonna do a playthrough on YouTube on this?
What's that?
Are you gonna do a playthrough on YouTube on this?
It's not a good game for a YouTube playthrough unless I record it, because it's one of those games that you do a little bit each day. You don't play for long periods of time, but you do have to keep checking in on it. So it's like
so why don't you just record the segments and then edit? Just edit them together.
Well, I'd have to start it over again.
Peters, what you could
Well,
do?
you started over already.
This is what you do. You keep messing with the time, and you do a speed run.
There we go.
Yes, do a speed run. Do it.
You can do that. I mean, that is an option. There are a lot of options when it comes to playing Seaman. There's
carefully.
Yeah, you got to play it carefully.
Oh no! Oh no! You're right.
Tonight.
We're gonna play it tonight.
Tonight. Surely.
Oh God! Did you cut every piece of that thing out?
I went searching and I found Venison's
Well,
folder.
He cut every single one up.
Well, he gave me all the things he cut that he used to make the final version.
Yeah.
You. Tonight. Surely. The tides flow, the sun rises and sets, the seasons come and go.
You know what, that right there, the eggs hatch, the seaman are here.
Carefully.
Oh my God. Well, I'm sorry your seamen are dead and you have to start all over again.
Yeah, but I've already started and I've got to the point where I have tadpoles because they burst from the Nautilus that died a horrific chest-bursting death. But that's okay, because that's how Seaman rolls. So,
I believe the deepest impression is made in those moments when I can say, hi.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like myself. I am not alone. Hi. It has just occurred to me that you are young. I love you.
What's that?
When is someone just going to cut out all the parts of Seaman and make those parts?
We could do that.
I like pain.
I think I had the better Leonard Nimoy material to work with, though. My tape was far better than anything he said in Seaman.
Yeah, I've heard that tape.
I have killed the child who is cold and lonely. I am not alone.
Yeah, the edited version.
The edited version, yes.
I believe the deepest impression is made in those moments when I can say, I like pain. I am an incurable romantic.
Brian,
There
did
we
you know
go.
about that?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of this before. I think
yeah.
it's funny.
It's one of those things that we just can't help but revisit from time to
Right.
time because.
And hey, you gotta love the voice, right?
Oh yeah,
So where's the Shatner version of this?
the Shatner version of Seaman. I don't know if. You know what? Let's see. I have some samples here of Seaman on the Dreamcast, so we could get an idea
You might want
of.
to watch that then.
We could try to see how if we get any good samples of narration here. Let's see.
Paul Gasset. Good morning. Welcome to the laboratory of Jean-Paul Gasset. Greetings and welcome back. You're doing a good job.
He's in the jungle.
Let's see. The eggs in the insect cage have hatched into larvae. It is important to raise them carefully. If you put too many larvae into the tank, you may find yourself running out of food for Seaman later.
Yeah, I figured that out.
But if you manage the larvae
Where's it
well,
coming from?
you should have no problem keeping Seaman well fed.
These are like tropical
At the
birds
moment,
going
the
on
habitat
there.
contains 2 gillmen. They appear to be very hungry. So let us head over to the tank.
So yeah, that's the kind of greeting that you get every day when you turn on the Seaman game. And at this
Tropical
point,
birds in the background. and
yeah,
everything.
you got all that,
Now,
ambiance.
let me ask you on this game.
Yeah.
What if so I'd done my stuff for the day. What if I shut it off for a week? Do I come back and he's dead?
Well, you got two options there.
Okay.
There's the honest option, which is you come back, you turn it on, and he's dead because you've not fed or taken care or heated the tank for a week. So, yeah, it'll be dead. But here's the other option you can do. You can come back a week later. You can turn on your Dreamcast without the game in it. You can go and set the date back to be 6 days, and then you go in and take care. Then you set the date forward a day. Then you go back in and take care.
What
Then
if
you
you
set
go
the date
back
forward a day.
A day too many.
If you go back to a date and time before you last saved, it will call you out on that and say no. So you could set the time back, but the time has to be set back to sometime after the last time you played. So you can cheat by basically setting it back a few days and then doing what you need to do to catch up.
So when you're done for the day, you write down the time, like in a log.
Right.
And then when you go back in, you set it to a moment after that time, and then continue.
Right. So if you do forget about it for a week, you could, set it to be like the next day after the last day you checked in, and just go through the motions for all the days you missed one day at a time, and catch it up. So that is a way you could. Yeah. Well, this is one of the controls is putting air in the tank, which keeps the water clean.
Now,
Seaman wants food. He's asking for food. And you see, it's like a fish thing with a face.
must have food now.
Yeah, they get hungry when they're.
I'm starving to
they're hungry.
death. Whew, that's better.
Oh, did you eat it?
So doesn't this look like a fun game? So there we go. There's that enclosure.
Yes.
And you got to spray to keep things moist.
It's underwater
moist. No, this is the enclosure with the moth larva. And you got to keep the moth larva enclosure moist. And I know some people hate the word moist, but I'm just going to keep saying moist.
Gross.
Or it reminds of them of something different.
There you go.
We'll just leave it at that.
There's nothing wrong. That should be moist.
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
That keeps the moth larva happy. But
I'm
anyway.
hungry.
Again, you just freaking ate.
Give me something to eat.
He missed it, the moth larva enclosure, but he did not actually give him any food in this thing we're watching here. Okay, he's gonna hand him a food pellet, it looks like.
He'd be all mad.
Yeah, I don't know. Whoever's playing this preview video isn't very good at controlling the controls. But that gives you an idea of how
Like I
that
said,
game.
this would be a great cell phone game. Why is this not on the mobile?
Yeah. If I were doing running in kind of a dick, I see. Yeah. I don't know if you're talking about the Seaman or...
Or the guy that's doing the video. Or did the video.
Yeah. But there you go. So
Gators,
yeah.
When you went to the flea market, did you get any records to go with your Victrola?
I did actually. The Victrola had a record on it, which I have to say is like the worst condition 78 I have ever seen. That's other than one that's broken. It was scuffed up. It was. I took a close look at it because it was impressive how trashed the 78 was, and I noticed there was a bunch
without
of
being actually broken,
right? And I noticed that
scratched so bad that it was unplayable.
And what gave me I wouldn't touch it with a 20-foot pole, let alone a brand new Victrola needle. I'm afraid it would shake the reproducer loose. But it actually probably wouldn't harm anything. But there was green crayon on it as well, so I have a feeling that some kids were playing with this thing. Now, if I have it doing asking, how long can they live? Is there a record for longest life? I really don't know what the average gameplay time is, but there is a life cycle.
Is there an end?
There is an end. Basically, there's different stages because you start with an egg that hatches into these little floaty things. There's a nautilus and a shell that eats the floaty things that hatch in the egg, and then it suddenly gets ill, comes out of its shell, and a bunch of little baby seamen chest burst out of it, and then they kind of grow into like 4 child seamen, although they're called gillmen, and they start talking babble talk, and because of survival of the fittest, only 2 of them will survive, and the ones that die will be fed on by the survivors. And so then you get that form that are the mature gillmen that we saw in that sample video that will talk to you. They'll ask you questions. You could use the microphone to answer their questions or talk to them. And then at some point, they start fucking. And I think they actually do that.
Is that Twitch TOS?
Well, it's Dreamcast Team OS apparently. I think the Angry Video Game Nerd did a good review of this game. So if you want to get some better idea of this, I suggest watching that.
Because him talking about Seaman is excellent material, honestly.
Oh yeah, no, he could not even, but at some point I think you actually catch them fucking, and it's like, hey, look what we're doing, and then the water kind of drains down lower in the tank so that only the lower portion is water, so that there's like a combination of water and dry land, and one of them will actually crawl up onto the dry land to lay eggs and then die, and then the eggs hatch into more of an amphibious type of creature that's kind of frog-like with legs. And so I think that's the final end goal, is to get a seaman, because that's the seaman, is the one that's frog-like.
Oh.
And you know what? We'll find out how long it takes, because I started the new one today. What's that?
Is there Seaman 2?
Yeah, they released a second one for the PlayStation 2. I don't have that one though.
They made a second one for PlayStation. Except that one's harder to set the time back.
Probably. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I don't have that one. I'll have to check that out.
You can get them on Steam.
But I also found another great Dreamcast game at the flea market this past weekend.
Was it Bust a Groove?
No, it's Who
Kitty
Wants to Beat Up a Millionaire.
Wow.
It's
man.
yeah.
How about Who Wants to Beat Up a Fifth Grader? How's that one?
Well, anyone that teaches fifth grade probably, but no. Here, let's see if I can find a review of this one. Who Wants to Beat Up a Millionaire? There we go. There's some videos about this. Here we go. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and click on one of these, and we'll go ahead and share that. I mean, it was only $15, and I was like, okay, for $15, I gotta find out what the deal is with this game.
Count how many of you will be playing. Oh, solo mio, eh? Okie dokie. Well, generic contestant.
So here, you can
pick the
select your victim:
millionaire that you'd
Ronald
like to
Hump,
pound on.
Daisy Mays, Sheik Abdul, Chickpea, Melvin.com, Rich Little Weasel the Third.
He is 3 times as rich as Rich.
I go with Ronald Hump every time.
And 3 times the Jack.
I'm not sure who that's supposed to be a parody of, but it's the first one, so it's the easiest
Hello,
one to get
everybody,
to.
and welcome to Who Wants to Beat Up a Millionaire.
And this is
Here are
the
rules.
Regis
Depending
Philbin
on the
parody.
difficulty
I
of
think
the
it's
questions that you answer,
I
you'll get a
forget what they
certain
called
amount of
him.
time to beat up on your opponents. The last one of you to remain standing.
But basically, you answer a trivia question. If you get it right, you get to spend some time trying to beat the cash out of a millionaire until you eventually beat all of his cash out of him.
What could Americans legally do once the 18th Amendment was repealed? Is it A, B, C, or D? So, Lone Ranger, this is your moment.
And even though you're playing one player, you still have to buzz in.
Answer. Sorry about that. Choice C, huh? Let's see. The correct answer is...
So, as you can see,
C.
total
Yes.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire
So, single player
parody
game person. I want to
Back off,
see some
yeah.
swelling.
with this added in.
Make it loose down.
Oh, I didn't beat any money out of him.
I've seen the Dalai Lama get more heated.
You know,
Okay,
the Dreamcast
you made his
really
blood
has some
flow.
excellent games, didn't it?
Yeah. The Dreamcast has a unique library. So yeah, I've been having fun with that. It was a really good console. It's a shame that
Yeah, it was a cool
Sega
console.
couldn't make it work. Sega was just already in trouble at that point. I mean,
Yeah,
the Saturn was a dud. The Sega CD was not that great.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't. They really.
Well, the Dreamcast was an excellent system, and then Sony came up.
Right. Well, that's the
So you
thing.
got PlayStation, yeah.
I mean, the Dreamcast was somewhere between the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2.
Mm-hmm.
But Sony's PlayStation really took off, and Sega was in a bad place.
First
they just
console to have a modem
couldn't-
in it.
yeah. I mean, the Dreamcast was ahead of its time in many ways. It had the modem built in,
It
standard.
ran Windows CE.
It you could hack it. Like you could
Yeah.
you could burn software onto CDs that would boot and run. So you could make it emulate other older consoles. I have a disc that has like the entire Sega Master System and Game Gear library on it that you just put to the Dreamcast and boot it up, and there you go, menu of any Master System or Game Gear game you want to play on a Dreamcast controller. So it could play VCDs. It did not have DVD playback in there because it was before that started rolling out. I mean,
the controllers, your little memory cards had little thingies on, little game thingies on it. You could do.
yeah. Well, I mean, and that was, I feel like, more a con than a pro because yes, it's cool that the memory card could play a game, but the memory card ran on watch batteries that you had to keep changing as they would wear out. So a battery-powered memory card, pain in the ass, in my opinion. I'm not a fan of the Dreamcast memory cards, but that's just my opinion. And another thing that, Yes. Yes.
Brian is asleep.
Oh, no. He loves this.
Oh, he's not asleep.
Isn't that right, Brian?
Yeah, no, this is cool.
Oh, darn it. He's awake.
No, you're the one that falls asleep during the show, and that's okay, because anytime you fall asleep, we would just get the air horn ready. And,
Yo,
and,
I sleep
Right.
with the air horn.
and then, well...
And that's how an angel earns his wings.
And not only would Mars sleep through the air horn, but if we asked him if he was ready for the air horn, suddenly he'd be awake and respond, "Yeah, I'm ready." And I thought that was the funniest when we were like, "He's asleep. We're prep. Okay, you ready? Everyone ready?" And Mars would be like, "Yeah, I'm ready."
Got to catch him snoring, right?
Yeah, no, there were times though that he would just sleep right through it, but every time we put on the Neo roar, that woke him right up. He was
You're not
he
telling
was
me that's not scary as crap.
that woke him right up every time.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's not good.
I tell you, Neo's a tough Facebook follow. She is. I don't know. I think she tries to piss off everyone. I think is her. And you know, to each their own. You know.
I don't look at my Facebook, so.
You never accepted my friend request on Facebook. I'm so insulted.
It's okay. Dude has some good posts once in a while. You can follow him. No, it's broken on my phone. I'm like, I click it. I'm like, oh look, nothing comes up. That's great. I have to reinstall you. I'll do it tomorrow.
There you go.
Hey, all of this stuff is nothing but a pain in the ass.
What is?
Right?
Wait, Brian, you should check that out so you always have a pain in the ass. Go check that out.
What do you mean, how?
Like I said, you should go see a doctor if you always have a pain in the ass.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you should.
The doctor will look at your video game, though, and go, no.
Actually, I'll bet you your doctor's played that video game a couple times.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Some woman flipped me off and honked in the McDonald's drive-thru because I was taking too long to order. So I paid for her food. When I got to the food window, I showed them both receipts and took her food. Not today, Satan. Oh, that is so Neo. That is so... I could see her doing that. I never thought of that. That is because the first window
That's totally evil.
you could totally say I'll pay for the person's food behind me. If you get to the second window and you got the receipts, I guess they got to give you the food. That's your food has been paid for. Pull through. Your food has been taken. Pull around and order again.
Oh man.
Oh no! She posted a caption. There's a picture that goes with this that I'm not going to put on the screen. You could just imagine it. The caption is, "Did you know that Jesus Christ was really bad at peekaboo?"
What?
Well, think about it. Oh, did that just kick in there?
I had to get the visual on it.
Yeah, that's just awful, isn't it? That is, yeah, that is
But really bad at peekaboo or really good at it?
Well, no. I mean, if you can't hide your eyes, you can't really be good at it. That's the point of the.
Yeah, but I mean, it depends. If
I think
people think you're hiding it, maybe they might be good at it.
Oh, there's no. If you could
totally
no.
evil either way, right?
Oh yeah, no. I'm not comfortable with this line of dialogue right now.
Okay, moving on.
I don't know. There was something she posted that pissed me off, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. And I can't find it now to remember what it was and decide whether or not I want to share it, but maybe it was on her Twitter account.
Shoot.
But I don't remember. Oh, there we go. Let's see if she's... let's see. Oh, no, she posted a video called Walmarts are military bases, and I start debating whether or not I even want to click on the link to even find out what the hell this fucking clickbait is. Because sometimes you can't tell if someone's being serious or not. So
What, did Did you ever follow that? What the hell was it? Jade Helms 15. This was from 1915.
Okay.
2015,
Uh-huh.
where everybody's going to be rounded up and sent to FEMA camps.
Right,
and
of course.
apparently, your local Walmart was going to be your staging station, and they would tell you which FEMA camp you're assigned to.
Well, mind
big
you,
old conspiracy theory thing.
Mind you, I wouldn't put it past Walmart to sell us out to FEMA camps, but I just don't think that that's actually happening. I'm just call me crazy, but
I was like, and part of that came from there was a Walmart in in Texas that was closed, because it was being converted to one of these.
Well, this is a similar thing. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, so this is talking about FEMA.
Yeah.
And it's talking about comments are turned off on this video because, of course, they are. And so I don't know why someone posted a 18-minute video with the caption "Walmart's our military bases," and what evidence they have or what the point of and I don't feel like investing 18 minutes of my life to finding out what the deal is with this video because it looks like a bunch of crap to me.
Well, it's conspiracy theory stuff.
Looks like it. Smells like it. It's probably what it is.
All I can say is, okay, are you ready?
Okay.
Bigfoot is real.
Well, now is he as real as the sound of a V8 engine? Oh no, he didn't.
Good one. Possibly.
It's too bad Sparky Toaster missed that. He could have had a good chuckle.
Or he would have hung up again. We love you, man. We love you.
We love all our viewers.
This is more of a comedy show than anything serious. So try not to take things too seriously.
Yeah, let's. I mean, everyone has their serious moments, and it's kind of like I was watching a interview with Jon Stewart and a guy that wrote kind of the memoirs of the Daily Show that were doing an interview for a PBS show. And Jon Stewart was talking about how, he felt like his show got more credit for changing things than it deserved. And that wasn't really what his show was doing or what maybe it drew awareness of things, but they were a comedy show to entertain, and I think one of the moments that I got a kick out of was like at some point Steve Carell did an interview with John McCain when McCain had his bust during his campaign when he was running, and at some point towards the end, Steve Carell's throwing a lot of softball, jokey, light questions, and McCain's answer, and then he gets to the end and he's like, now you come out against pork barrel spending, but as a sitting member of the such and such committee or whatever that does a lot of pork barrel spending, how can you really and there's like this deer in the headlights look on John McCain's face. And then before he could answer, Steve Carell goes, "Oh no, I'm just kidding. I don't even know what that means." And the point that Jon Stewart was making there was that's what they had to do. They had to back it off and make it funny and keep it light. So yeah, they really pointed to a serious, hard hitting question, but then they had to dial it down and back off, so they didn't really do anything.
We're not really looking for a serious answer.
Right. So
my favorite, one of the first promos for Jon Stewart's show was, the Daily Show.
Right.
Was, I have people that say they get all their news from my show. And he, pauses and he says, "Oh, well, but we make everything up. What were you thinking?" Whatever. I probably got a little bit wrong, but
I mean, Jon Stewart was usually pretty candid that his show was meant for entertainment and not meant to be serious news. Although he did try to, what his ideals and opinions were certainly came across in there.
Did you see the interview that Stephen Colbert did with Jon Stewart as he came back to the Ed Sullivan Theater, recently. Did you see that interview?
Oh, where they're talking about the coronavirus lab in China.
Oh yeah, and Wuhan. Yeah,
Wuhan.
I mean,
and he kept saying the name of it is, and Colbert's trying to dial it down. That was amusing.
yeah. I mean, it's the kind of thing. Hey, it's Jon Stewart. Don't take him seriously. He's making fun of something. I'm not really sure what, but
I wasn't sure what, but it was entertaining, and that's what I really go to TV for, anyways.
Right.
Anyways, we still got 25 minutes to kill.
Gators, did you finish your Mama's Family box set?
My what? Oh no! I'm
Mama's
still
Family box set. Have you
I'm still work. Well, I was able to rip all the discs, so I'm done with this box to store it. But I'm still working through season 1, so I got a ways to go. Mind you,
where are you on your weekly Star Trek episodes? You're doing in play order, so you're kind of jumping between a Next Generation and
I could tell you exactly where we are because we have ended 2 seasons
of Deep Space Nine.
Both series. So I watched the last episode of season 1 of Deep Space Nine and the last episode of season 6 of Next Generation. Yeah. So now we got to start season 2 and season 7 of Deep Space Nine, Next Generation, and watch them alternating. And then that's the last season, Next Generation. So after that, I got to get a Voyager box set so I could continue Deep Space Nine and work Voyager into the rotation.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. You're starting season 2 of Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, that'll be the next thing to do, which means that makes, for me, since I only watch 1 episode a week instead of 2 episodes a week, that makes the cliffhanger on the end of season 6 of Next Generation a 2-week cliffhanger for me.
So you're going to have to wait a month for that, right?
Yeah, well, a few weeks. Well, back then, the last episode of season 6 aired June 21st, 1993. The second part of that didn't air until September 20th.
I know.
3 months.
I remember these. I'm like, what am I going to do?
Rewatch all the past episodes? I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's what they did because it was on TV. You didn't have a choice. It's like, oh my God, I have to rewatch what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Well, now it's even more irregular. Like we've been watching Grace and Frankie, and they ended I forget what season number, 3rd season, whatever. And you have no idea how long you have to wait for the next season to start.
Yeah.
No. And then when it starts, they give you 3 episodes. Okay, those 3 episodes are already gone.
So
now I have to wait again already.
So Dune is asking for clarification. Wait, what? In order? Yeah, well, I watched all of original series because I bought the Blu-ray set for Kristen, and we watched through those. And then I bought Kristen the full Next Generation Blu-ray set, and then we bought the Deep Space Nine DVD set. And so Deep Space Nine Season 1 started at the same time that Next Generation was in Season 5, because Next Generation and Deep Space Nine were both still on the air. There's overlap when both of them were on the air. So I decided to watch in air date order, meaning that I started, I checked when the air dates were, so that instead of just watching through the rest of Next Generation, I started alternating between Next Generation and Deep Space Nine episodes because
it does make sense because you need to get what's happening in Deep Space Nine and Next Generation together.
Because they
match.
They designed them to be concurrent in the same time period. That Deep Space Nine,
exactly.
They took control of that space station. Like Picard gives the assignment to what's his name,
Commander
Commander Cisco.
The emissary, Cisco, yeah.
Right. So though, I mean, they're existing in the same universe, and I mean, eventually Worf crosses over into Deep Space Nine.
And
so
O'Brien, Chief O'Brien.
Chief O'Brien crossed over right at the beginning.
Right.
Worf doesn't cross over till after Next Generation ended.
Right.
But
well, he found out that what's her name was.
I'll see that. I'll watch. I don't know how that happens.
So
I just know that it does.
Is this point you don't have Worf on the series?
No, Worf is still in Next Generation at this point.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So does he stay with Next Generation to the end?
Well,
says, this ship is going to crash into the sun, so I'm going to take a transfer now.
Did you just spoil the end of Next Generation for me?
I just made up an ending.
No. The last episode of Next Generation is called All Good Things.
Now 5-hit Dune running,
where it gets all mushy. Yeah.
5-hit Dune running in. Did not know that. Did not like Deep Space Nine. Now Kristen particularly likes Deep Space Nine. That's her favorite Star Trek show.
And I'm going to say this, and Dune, please pay attention to this. I wasn't a really big fan of Deep Space Nine because to me it's like, okay, you're going to the space station, and you're not going anywhere. What's the fun of that?
From what I understand,
and then DS9. They got the Defiant. Yeah, right. Do you have the Defiant yet,
John? No.
Okay, then they got the Department. Yeah. Okay, now they can go someplace.
I don't think.
Although you're not really going far, but it's an improvement.
Here's the thing:
Cisco was promoted to captain.
No,
well, it's about damn time.
Now, mind you, I've been okay. Now, from what I've read online, people who like Deep Space Nine tend to be critical of the first two seasons. But then again, I think the first season or first two seasons of Next Generation often get some criticism as well.
Seasons.
I didn't have a problem with them, but I'm not one of those critical types of people. I'm not very picky about my entertainment. Either I like it or I don't.
With any TV series, it's very often that you have to put up with the first couple of first few episodes. Yeah. If not the full season.
But I do like the way I'm doing it because they are very different shows in some ways and very similar in other ways.
Absolutely.
And I think they complement each other well.
And who would think that a Ferengi would be funny?
He's hilarious.
Quark
is hilarious. Quark's the best character.
All Ferengi are the funniest shows of Star Trek.
No, Gators, you're wrong. You know who the best character is?
Who's that?
Quark's mom.
I haven't met her yet.
Well, she's funny too.
In
fact, I think all the Ferengi are funny.
5-hit Dune likes Saturn 9. Or liked Saturn 9.
Saturn 9?
Saturn 9, yeah.
What's that?
You know what? The series that I couldn't stand on the Star Trek, I did not like Enterprise. I couldn't get into it. And you know why I didn't like Enterprise? I couldn't get past. I tried a season and a half. I couldn't get past that Sam Beckett was the freaking captain. I couldn't get it. I couldn't do it.
Oh, you didn't like him?
No,
okay.
I couldn't do it because I love Quantum Leap and I can't put him in a starship. I can't do it.
I know a lot of people that will take some actor and they go, I can't deal with that actor.
Because
even in the Star Trek reboot series.
Every Star Trek captain is
you've got the guy that plays Spock, and he was some character on the deal. And to me, it's like it doesn't matter. He's got a different role. Fantastic.
I can't do it. I'm sorry, Gators. I'm sorry.
What are we talking about?
Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh, yeah.
Star Trek Enterprise, the captain was Sam Beckett, and I can't do it.
You can't do it.
I can't do it. But
I could see that, but I'm okay with it. I like him anyway.
Well, I couldn't do the Enterprise because of that. I just couldn't do it. Which is sad.
Well, we'll see when I get there.
And I haven't watched any of Picard. I have not watched a single bit of Picard.
I've not watched that, but then again, CBS is real evil doing the whole putting it behind a paywall bullshit.
Well, I am watching Lower Decks.
Right.
I am watching Lower Decks. Lower Decks is animated and is hilarious. So if anybody you watch Lower Decks, I love it. It's great.
Oh.
I'm on season 2.
Oh, by the way, have you watched the new series of the Lost in Space?
No. I watched the old
No.
1960s.
You know,
stuff.
you have the basic characters from the silly TV series from the 60s,
That was the best one.
but this is so much better.
No, I'm not.
You know, because so the Dr. Smith in the original series is whiny old man.
Yeah.
And you know, what is that jerk going to do next? Why don't they just push him out of an airlock, right?
See, I always thought
The
Lost in
new
Space.
one, it's a woman that takes the identity of a man named Dr. Smith because she wants to get onto one of the Jupiter ships, and she picks the Jupiter 2. The robot character is different. The robot is a alien robot that they discovered at some point. And, you know, the boy basically befriends the robot. So, you know, I mean, it's different in many, many ways. And I think it's well done. You know, it's nowhere near as hokey.
5 at Doom running again. They should have off that dude day one.
Yes.
I've never seen any Lost in Space, but I've always heard that pretty much had a reputation of being pretty crappy and just
It was campy. It was horribly campy, but I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing.
In a way, there's a campiness to a particularly earlier Doctor Who, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, wait, that's a cardboard tube. That's a real poor excuse to a prop. And Lost is the original Lost in Space is a lot like that.
Come on,
What's
Brian,
that?
look at the original Star Trek. Do not tell me they had the best props in the world.
And they were basically enhanced cardboard tubes.
Yeah, and they were awesome because it was Star Trek, and because it was, and whether you like Star Trek or not, it was a nice gateway into a lot of sci-fi that a lot of people got into.
Right, and the thing about Deep Space Nine is, you know, that you're talking essentially the same time frame. Mm-hmm. You know, we're talking this mid to late 60s.
Right.
Sorry,
but,
we
you know, I mean, the Star Trek was definitely better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think what Lost in Space is kind of got a reputation of what campy.
Oh, it was very campy.
Very campy.
Yeah.
I almost want to say it's sitcom-like, maybe. I don't know. I've never seen it.
A space sitcom.
They do play it, by the way, on MeTV.
Yeah. And I think you can get it on Tubi or Crackle as well. One of those two.
Yeah, I mean, you might try it, see if you can stand it.
Yeah.
In fact, if you've seen anything more recent that has Billy Mummy in it, you kind of go, oh, he was on this Lost in Space series when he was a kid.
So Dune was clarifying that he was talking about Saturn 3 that he liked, and before he asked, guess why? And he now he's saying it's Saturn 3. I sent you a link, and so a link has come up in my messenger with the caption "Farrah Fawcett dude, naked pics and sex scenes." Oh
my god!
I don't think that's
Is it TOS?
Oh hey, I don't think that's TOS.
Oh.
No, I don't think that is. But want free access to Farrah Fawcett pics and clips? Enter an email address, verify your account, and start watching. Yeah, I'll get right on that.
Gators, are you getting the whiteboard out?
Oh no, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah. He has a phone that has a calendar now. I mean, that's way more efficient.
No, I got fed up with having to, reset up my, cancel my credit cards and get a replacement every so often. But I tell you,
well,
though,
now you can go out and get a burner card.
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, here I'll put $50 on this burner card, and when they hack it or pass it around, boom, there's no money in it.
Yeah. Anyways, I have some exciting news. And I don't know, Brian.
This whole show wasn't exciting.
Well, it wasn't news.
What's news? What's news that's exciting, Gators?
Now,
You got a Victrola.
I got a Victrola. No. You all remember when back when I lived in Maine? Well, that was before Brian knew me. But when I lived in Maine, I would oftentimes take trips to New Jersey and bring my computers with me, and we would do on-location shows at the basement of the Gators mansion. And I don't know, Mars, if you were listening back then, but you probably were. You might have heard some of those or heard of some of them.
One.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the things that we had forgotten as the years went on, that not only did we do these crazy shows with crazy stunts, which the crazy stunts typically revolved around how many beers can we chug at a time, because we would play basically. My brother Greg and his friend Dan, also known as Sega and Nintendo, they would come up with these
Assume names, I think.
Yeah, well, no, they Dan started a YouTube channel called Console Wars, with the premise being that Sega and Nintendo are two guys that are roommates that keep bickering over which version of a game was better, the Sega or the Nintendo. And my brother played Nintendo for a while until my brother got sick of it, and then they replaced him with another Nintendo person without ever explaining the Switch.
It's just like a soap opera. Suddenly there's a different actor does too.
Yeah, and the episode where they did it, Dan was bitching about how, I hate it when they just replace people on shows without offering any explanation, and then the new guy comes in the frame and goes, "Yeah, I know what you mean," or something like that. And they just continue right on like that.
Right.
And so that's Console Wars. But back before Console Wars, Dan and Greg would be on my show when I would come down to visit in Jersey, because they were in a band together. And Greg played the drums, Dan played the guitar, and they went through bass players like Spinal Tap went through drummers. And
the clarinet, Gators?
I played the mixing board. I would record a few tracks with them. Actually, I still have those recordings.
So didn't do the French horn at all.
No, but I did. I think I produced some of the best recordings they got that were made of them as a band, because they just did a lot of rehearsing. They may have played a show or a talent show or something, but I need to find the old break music folder is what I need to find, because I have the recordings I made back then. Because then I used to play them on breaks because, let's see if I can find... Oh, here we go. Let's... Well, this is one of the recordings I made with them in the basement there. And we would always... And the thing is that I couldn't set it up so that they could do it live, because it was too much work to set up microphones at the table, do the show, and then move the microphones and play live and move it back. So we always, little insider secrets here, we would pre-record the live music performance and then just play it during the break.
Well, that's what you do anyway.
Yeah.
You think Stephen told Blair has the band play live?
Well, they play live in front of an audience, but the whole show is pre-recorded.
Yeah, but even in the recorded segments, you don't think some of those are not just recorded? You can't tell. I mean, if you could tell, then we'd all know that it was fake.
Gators, you do a mix of that last song and switch fights at the same time.
Well, the thing is that I mixed it live. I didn't record multi-tracks. I thought this one came out pretty good. This was the first one. So that's Sega on the vocals and Nintendo on the drums. I could have used a compressor on the snare, but I could have boosted the vocals a little bit. But anyways, but the point is that so in preparation for the show, they would get all excited, like, "Oh, you're going to come down, we're going to do a show." And so they came up with an idea to make this big wheel for some kind of a game show type thing that we would do on the radio. And they called it the Wheel of Consequence, because the idea being that we'd have some kind of quiz game show or whatever, and when someone lost something, they would have to spin the wheel, and it had things like smell a shoe for 2 minutes, or put Twinkies in your pants, or funnel 2 beers.
How about play level 42?
Play level 42. No, that wasn't on there. Let's see. Oh, hey is right. That was in the cease and desist days. Wait, what was that? Oh, hey? What? Anyways. So yeah, we did those shows, and of course they only came up with the wheel and the consequences. They didn't come up with an actual game to use this wheel to. So we really had to improvise, and there was like a cranium game in our basement. So I just took the question cards out of the cranium game and just turn it into a quiz game, taking turns answering questions. And if you get it right, you get a point. If you get it wrong, you spin the wheel, and we keep score. And then we all get drunk and forget about the score. But fun was had by all. Here's the part that was forgotten. My sister was running her camcorder at times during all of this. Oh. And so there existed video footage of us doing this show, of us doing these crazy things with the Wheel of Consequence, because this was before we had any streaming cameras or anything like that. So it was only audio that was ever, streamed or captured on my hard drive. And recently I went down to Jersey to celebrate my nephew's graduation from high school, and while we're hanging out, my nephew comes out with the old camcorder and the VHS-C tapes, and he's like, hey, some of your old shows on here, because he's been going through the old family movies, because my sister was gifted the camcorder when my nephew was born to be able to take some home movies of Aiden in his youth as a baby and growing
up. Yeah, it was
up.
supposed to be for Aiden.
But it also got used for Jackass-like things as well, and that's why somewhere on these tapes is a clip of Aiden's dad falling down the stairs, trying to skimboard down the stairs. Which, once again, I think I mentioned this. I'm supposed to convert this to digital and blur out the balls because no one wants to look at Mike's balls, but.
I think you should enhance them, actually. Zoom in. That's what I think you should do.
Add some more. Make sure we get every little detail. You can see the tufts of hair coming out there.
I upgraded it to 4K for you. Enjoy. See every pore and every hair. Enjoy.
There's a reason that porn never caught on Blu-ray. So, yeah. Anyways, so the point is I have all those tapes. I just can't seem to get my hands on a decent VHS-C to VHS adapter. Everyone threw them out, and the new old stock on Amazon is all the worst model ever. I've gone through 2 of them. They both broke down. The door stopped opening up. And so I bought one off of eBay. The guy never shipped it. The guy never sent me tracking information. The guy never responded to my messages going, hey, dude, did you ship this thing? And at this point now, I filed a claim with eBay, and eBay goes, well, we're going to wait to see if he responds. And if he doesn't respond by September 3rd, you can ask us to step in. And it's like, well, I thought I just asked you to step up. Yeah, okay, fine. So now I'm waiting for that. But I did just get tracking information for the second time I tried to buy one on eBay. So finally, I've got one of these in the mail on the way to me. And I did my research. Apparently, JVC made the best VHS-C adapters. So hopefully now I get this. I could get these old crazy-ass Wheel of Consequence movies converted. And we can watch them here on a future episode.
Oh, my goodness. What?
All 5 of you.
Are they going to be TOS?
Yeah. Everyone kept their clothes on. I think the most disturbing thing we captured was Greg landed on the funnel 2 beers spot on the wheel. So we had the big beer bong with the funnel and the tube, and put 2 beers in it, and he chugged the 2 beers down and immediatage puked the 2 beers up.
Apparently you can't puke on Twitch, though.
And I believe the camcorder got very close footage of said puke happening. I can't display that on
No, I
Twitch.
think puke is TOS.
Is
Not TOS.
it's not TOS? It's
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna Google that.
Thing, but from what I've understood, puke is not.
Well, there's the guy that what did the guy do?
Let's see. For those wondering, no, Twitch does not condone throwing up on your stream, especially if it's because you consumed too much alcohol or took too many drugs. Oh, wait. Hey, here's a Reddit article about it. I recently had a person donate $50, which included me downing a carton of lemonade. The body reacts to this by vomiting. It does not self-harm to me. Kind of funny, kind of cringy. That's your channel, so it's good. Will I get in trouble for this? If you do something that you know will make you throw up, that is self-harm. Vomiting is inherently not a good thing for your body, whether your body is actually significantly harmed. So I think Twitch, it sounds to me, and I'm reading between the lines here, it sounds like he's questioning if the vomiting would be considered self-harm, which says to me that he's concerned about a self-harm TOS, that there's not a specific vomiting TOS. But if you're vomiting as a form of self-harm, you could run afoul of TOS.
So if you're eating something or drinking something that might cause you to vomit, they might allow it.
Well, I mean, I guess, funneling 2 beers isn't exactly
no, well, that's alcohol.
Healthy.
So,
but it's not
but no,
specifically self-harming. It's not.
What was the discussing this thing guy? Oh, the guy ate a bunch of McRibs until he puked. Remember that?
I don't remember that. I know
this
I
was
ate
like
a bunch
6 months ago, and
in
fact, I was trying to get the guy to come on our show.
And I think he ate less than I did, and I didn't puke. So
See? So, I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not a guarantee. Let's put it that way. Maybe the idea wasn't, hey, this will make me puke.
Yeah, no, we weren't binge drinking to harm ourselves. We were binge drinking because it was fun. Except Greg wasn't having that much fun once he reacted by puking. It was it was just one of the things that we put on the wheel to funnel 2 beers. We thought, whoa, that'll be funny. Someone lands on that. That's not me. And Greg landed on it. I think we decided after he funneled the 2 beers and immediately went to puking that we would change that wheel item to just funneling a beer. Because we funneled beers no problem all the time, but funneling 2 beers apparently was more than some of us could handle. I think the whole time he's puking, my sister holding the camcorder is calling him old. For not being able to...
right there is the comedy right there. That's the comedy goal. Not puking, calling him old as he's doing it.
Yes. So anyways, the point is the adapter is finally the 4th attempt at buying a damn adapter to play these tapes in my VCR is hopefully going to be successful unless the post office loses it. And don't you dare.
It's okay. It'll end up over here, and then across the country somewhere, and then North Carolina, and then New York,
mind you,
and maybe Florida.
You might just check. You might just keep visiting your old apartment.
I live in Massachusetts. I live close to Providence, Rhode Island. All mail that comes to me comes through Providence, then comes to the Attleboro, which is where I live. But a lot of mail, not all of it, a lot of mail comes through Springfield before it gets to Providence, especially if it's coming from the west.
Gators, which
Springfield?
That's the question.
Illinois?
Springfield, Massachusetts.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, it's big enough to...
There's a large mail center in Springfield, Massachusetts, and a lot of mail gets to before it gets to Providence on its way here. And let me tell you, Springfield, I don't know what they're doing there. But they are having a difficulty figuring out where east is, because I watched 2 packages that were coming to me come to Springfield the same day, and then the next day I update the tracking information. They sent one package to Nashua, New Hampshire. They sent another package to Jersey City, New Jersey.
Okay.
So I mean. I guess if you split the difference, it averages out. Mm-hmm. But, they sent both my packages in the wrong direction, in opposite directions. I'm like, Why do you send one to Nashua and one to Jersey City when they both need to go to Providence? What the fuck are they doing? I can't even.
You know they're just messing with you, right, Gators? They're just messing with you.
I suspect they are.
Or they're fishing for complaints.
Or they'll be like, "Oh, we'll send this one to Florida." Why not? This one over here, Canada. It's not.
Yeah, why not? Why not? We'll send one to Canada. We'll send one to Mexico.
Yeah,
and
international.
We'll just chuck it over the wall.
Look,
all right.
Why is my package in Alaska? What's going on?
So we're thinking of raiding.
Yeah, we should raid. Now we have a few options. iShorts is on, but I don't know if she's doing anything that makes sense to us. So iShorts is talking in a robe.
Cara, eu não sei, basicamente.
Oh, she's got a guy over.
Porque nem eu mesmo sei, velho.
I don't think we'll raid iShorts. Maybe another time. So let's see who else is on. Let's see. iBaby Rainbow is on, and she's in a car as a passenger.
Oh, she's
iBaby Rainbow. I think iBaby Rainbow was she was cooking cookies, or making cookies one stream in a bikini or something like that. Oh, she's now eating Pringles, but giving herself a duck bill by putting two of them in her mouth.
Gators, it's in the commercial. You have to.
You have to. You pretty much have to. Let's see who else is live right now. Let's see. There's some channels I don't recognize. Let's see. Well, we got a girl that's eating jelly beans while listening to music. Okay. Let's see. Vokoda. That sounds interesting.
Okay.
Oh, this here, I think, is the channel.
Cool. It does sound cool.
Oh my God, we are. All right. So, anyways, I guess we have to ask the question though, as we bring up the music. Let me just get ready to raid. So, what is it we've learned this week here, as we wrap up another episode of
Insert title here.
So, Brian, what have you learned?
You can pay $35 to get the most common Victrola ever made.
And Sir Mars, what have you learned?
Springs! You can't live without them!
All right.
And I learned, what have I learned that we can still toast a good show without a toaster.
I have no toaster, by the way.
Yeah.
I need a new one.
But
maybe he went into the bathtub.
I think so. Oh, no, that's bad. That's bad. Now, Five Dude says that sounds awesome. All right, so we are going to go ahead and we are going to raid Vokoda. And I don't even know where I got this channel from. It had to have been a Twitch find.
Dummy Gators night?
No, this has to be a Twitch find, because that's where all my stuff comes from. So all right. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna raid Vokoda and listen to some more beatboxing.
All right.
There we go. We rate it with 2.
Whoopee! All right, so we'll see it. We'll check out what this is about.
Yeah, good show.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Catch you later. Bye.